I want to try to make this a short, quick video. I don't do anything short or fast, so hopefully it doesn't end up dragging out. But real quickly, I'm getting ready to make another sign, which means I have to tile it. And in the interim, I've been working on some work in which I needed 2 fences. So I want to be able to take this this fence off down here, my X fence, and then put it back on real quick and have everything lined up, and maybe just do a quick flush after I do it. So to do that, I use dowels, particularly this size dowel right here, and I drill dowel holes in here. And so now what I want to do is, I don't want to depend on these previous holes because I've reused this now. I'm going to drill some new dowel holes into the board. And so to do that, I want to make sure I'm putting them exactly where I want them. So I want a dowel here, and I want a dowel here. And that way, when I pull this fence off, I'll be able to put it back on exactly where I want it. And I want to be the one to locate where the dowels are going versus trying to measure everything out. I just want it to be quick. So I'm going to put together a real quick, what I'll call a drill program, or just a dowel inserting program, so that these dowels are exactly the right size I want them to be, or I should say the holes are exactly the right size I want them to be for these dowels to fit nice and snug, so I don't have to worry about fence alignment. So you may recall from an earlier video I did, I went through and I made this jig, dowel fitting jig I call it, and so that's so I can take any dowel that I'm using when I'm typically using them for alignment, for pulling things down, or for double-sided alignment, etc. So here's a dowel that I have. All I'm going to do is fit it in my jig, and I found already that 0.429 is a nice snug fit, somewhere between 0.429 and 0.43 for this dowel. Recall, I have previously set up holes for magnet sizes, dowels, etc. So this is a multi-use jig, and it always comes in handy when I want to use dowels or magnets. And so for this video, I'm going to do real quickly to show you how I can quickly, now that I know what size dowel hole I want, put the dowel hole in the right spot for alignment, and then be done. To develop this CNC program that I'm going to use, I'll start by creating a new file, 1 inch by 1 inch, measure out the material surface. The key point isn't how big I make this material, because it's always going to be driven off the size of the vector I'm cutting. The key on this whole setup is zeroing in the center. And I need to do a video on that sometime about how zeroing in the center can be such a cool tool to use when trying to be very precise with your locations for repairs, mortising handles, or other things. But in this case, let's just talk about this hole. So I now, in the center, I hit OK, and this is going to be fairly straightforward. I know that I want a hole that's going to be 0.429 inches in diameter. Hit close. First thing I want to do is go ahead and make sure that's absolutely in the center, because that's critical to my locating of what I want to do. And now that I have the hole located in the center, it's as simple as coming in here, selecting a profile toolpath. I'm just going to go ahead and hit Z, because I'm going to have it go down 1 inch and go through everything, and I like Z. I have a compression bit, so that will work for me. So I'm just going to leave that compression bit selected. I'm going to go on the inside of the hole. I'll stay with a conventional cut. I find the smoothest cuts when you're just drilling a hole like this is going to be a spiral. I'm going to hit calculate. I'm going to put dowel. Hit calculate. So now I'm going to have a hole right here, and then I can go ahead and hit preview. And you can see that spiral motion that it's doing. So now I have the toolpath set. Wherever I set the bit, the center of the bit will be the center of the hole. So the next thing I do is I go ahead and take the toolpath and I save it to my USB drive. And I'm just going to leave it dowel so I know what it is. Hit save. and I'm ready to go drill the hole. Okay, we're back. We're back from putting the little program together. Now it's time to decide where I want to actually put the dowel holes, and it's going to be as straightforward as wherever I want to put them, I'm going to put the center of the bit there and make that my home. So in this case, I'm going to want to put my dowel holes right in this location. We'll see if I can zoom in with the camera or get a different shot. I've decided I want to locate my dowel holes, one right here and the other one right here. So I've marked these spots, and so now what I need to do is, since the dowel hole is going to be wherever I center the bit, is make this my XY0. I'm going to create an XY0 two different times just before I do the program. So the first one will be right here and the second one right here, and that's what I'm going to do at this time. So now that I've got everything aligned up, I've taken the dust collector off so we can actually see it better when we're running our program. The key to this is, recall, we centered for each hole. So now wherever we put the center of this bit, that is where the hole is going to be. So I'm going to bring the machine down. I'm going to locate it. So the center of the bit is exactly over the crosshair on the X. Okay, that looks good to me. 1 little meter that way. And I'm going to then set my program. I'm going to change this to profile number 9 for this case. I'm going to go ahead and hit my XY0 now. So that's telling it that this is my center location. Remember, I centered the machine, so my XY coordinate in the software and on the machine are exactly the same. That means it's going to start from the center, which is just over that X, and I'm going to get my Z0 now that I've gotten my XY0. Now, when I hit run, let me put on my glasses. I'm not going to worry about dust collection in this case because it's not going to make that much of a mess, more than I've already got here. So we're going to hit run, and what we should see, if everything goes well, is this will come down and spiral in and give me a 1-inch hole, which will take me down to about this depth right here. Move this out of the way real quickly. Do a quick vacuum. One thing I want to do real quickly is do a quick test of my alignment to see if it's nice and tight, and it is. So that's the right size hole that I want to use, so I have nice tight alignment when I take this thing on and off. In fact, sometimes I need to use a pair of pliers to get it back out. That makes sure that it's nice and snug when I align everything coming in and out. So the next step then is to drill the other hole. So all I have to do that is come back to the XY0, hit origin. Now I want to do about the same exact location, but just down here. So I'm going to go X minus. The Z0 is already correct. So let me just get it a little bit closer where I can see. I'm going to go X plus. Hopefully the camera's catching it. Now that's the right location. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to re-zero the XY. I am not re-zeroing the Z because I haven't changed that. And we'll have the exact same dowel depth for both of those. I'm going to hit run, use the same program, but now it's centered right here. So I control where the hole is going to be. Nice snug fit. So now everything's set up so that when I pull this fence off and put it back on, it's always going to go in the same location. So very quickly, what I wanted to demonstrate in this video was how easy it was to be very precise with your location if you want to drill holes in a specific location, the exact size and everything else. I originally was just going to drill the dowel holes using this Forstner bit, but then I wouldn't have had a nice tight fit for alignment. And when you're doing alignment holes, a tight fit is critical, so I wanted a nice tight fit for the dowels to fit into along with the board. And the best way to do that was to use my bit to control the actual size. And I wanted to locate it in a specific location. So all I have to do is, if you put something as a center location in your program, it will always cut from that center location. So in this case, it was a simple hole. and so therefore it was real easy to locate where I wanted my holes. I've done the same thing with mortise handles, trying to cut those in a very refined area, or making repairs and projects that have chipped out. And if you would like to see a video on how I use that center locating technique for repairs and other precise mortising or CNC jobs, let me know in the comments section. Well, that's the conclusion of this video, and I hope it added value to some. The key message from this video is it's very easy to be precise with where you're actually going to not only just drill a hole, but create cuts and vectors to remove certain sections of an object. In this case, it was just drilling an alignment hole. But this technique of using the center location, then just making vectors around that center location to be very accurate with where you're trying to carve, works marvelously. I hope some of you can expand what I was talking about the hole to larger projects. And as I said, if you're trying to make that leap and you can't, let me know in the comments section, and I'll try to do something with some more examples of how I use that center aligning method for making repairs or being very precise with small carvings that I'm trying to accomplish. My goal is to always try to provide something that when I think of it, that says, you know, it would have been nice for me if somebody had shown me that before, because each of us have different experiences. So I'm trying to make these videos. They may be overly simple for some, but for others they may open up some insights or ideas on how they can use the technique. So I'm hoping that if someone got something out of this, I'll feel like I've accomplished something. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. Share the video with others that might want to learn from it. Provide comments down in the comments section on things you liked or things you think I could have provided more insights on, or if you would like videos on other topics, let me know. I appreciate that. I appreciate this community. And until we meet again, I hope you are doing well.